Uh, all right, it says we are live, and this guy just left. Okay, so the I think StreamYard has an issue because I'm seeing the live stream and our pictures are not showing there. Like the video is not showing; it's only the audio. So that's very strange. Steven, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay, give me one sec. Anyways,
Ma-
guys, so we are actually live, but we can see that you don't see us. For some reason, StreamYard is not showing the video. But if you can hear us, I think that's good. You, anyways, going to get the gist. Maybe StreamYard is going to get better and make us visible. But this evening, for us in Europe, depending on where you are, what time it is for you, we have a very special guest with us, Marvin from Fades and Braid. And today we're going to be talking about building wealth from within and how Fades and Braid is taking the lead. I have with me my business partner and friend Stephen Borte from Chiroto Consult and also the founder of Fades and Braids. Before we proceed, I just would like the colleagues to briefly introduce themselves. So Stephen and then Marvin. So then we get onto the gist of the day.
So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us wherever you are. My name is Stephen Buete. I'm the founder of Chiroto Consult. Um, I'm so excited today to be here talking to Marvin and reading about his accomplishments. I couldn't wait to talk to him. So, just like the audience, I'm very excited to learn and to be inspired. And yeah, looking forward for a very fruitful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen. Marvin.
Hi, yes. Thanks, Stephen and Mike, for having me over. So, my name is Marvin. I'm from Berlin, Germany. My family is from father side from Cameroon and the other side from Germany. I'm the founder of Fades and Braids. Fades and Braids, as I said, Germany's first platform, focused and dedicated on curly and coily hair, and especially for African hairstyles. Um, and that's what we focus on. And I'm very happy to be here and to talk to you guys. And let's see how this conversation goes.
Thank you so much, Marvin. And once more, for those listening to us, this is supposed to be a video, but for some reason, um, you don't see us. We can't see ourselves as well. There is a problem from StreamYard. But nonetheless, I think the most important thing is what we have to tell and not necessarily our fine faces. So,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a
Um,
nice podcast, you can say.
Pardon?
It's a good audio podcast.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so without taking much time, I'd like to start first with a story which I feel like is very common among most Africans when they move to Europe. I'm going to use myself as an example, and what's interesting is Steven can also relate very much to my story, and of course Marvin as well. So today I have this very long hair. I locked my hair like back in 2022, but before then, I think back in 2025, 2015, I started, braiding my hair. And the reason I started braiding my hair was not because I wanted to braid my hair when I arrived Germany, but it was because it was easier to maintain my hair that way than just looking for, a salon that they can actually give nice afro haircuts. I never actually thought I was going to braid my hair or have long hair. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. Steven told me his story some time ago. I saw his pictures. I could not believe that Steven even had locks. Steven, maybe you want to share the story of your locks and what happened.
Oh, I can't tell you that. Every time I tell people, because I have a bald head now, people don't believe I have massage hair reaching down here. So for me, it was quite out of conveniency that I started growing my hairs. And when you've just arrived here, it's when you find out that finding a hairstylist or a barber shop is not as easy as you thought it would be. Back home in Uganda, I would just decide today I want to go to this salon, tomorrow I want to go to the other one. And then coming here, I realized every time I had to go there, there's one I had, you need to make an appointment. But even when you make an appointment, I could find a long queue. And then I was wondering, why did I even need to make an appointment?
Hmm.
And as a student, of course, the price wasn't always very student friendly. So somehow I said to save some money, I needed to rationalize how often and how long I should wait to go to the salon.
Yeah.
By doing so, my hair kept growing, and at some point, it was very hard to comb. I couldn't find the right comb, or I couldn't find the right um, uh, chemical that could help soften my hair. So it became so hard and painful every time I would comb. So playfully, I started twisting it with my hands. Little did I know I was getting dreads. And then at some point, I just found myself having dreads, and my hair used to grow very fast. And before I knew, I had dreadlocks, and that was the end of the story.
uh, so Marvin, Marvin, what do you think about these stories? I know I haven't told you my story before, but now you heard it. So what do you think about my story and Steven's?
I mean, I heard similar stories. I think 100 times, if not more, which is
Yeah.
also one of the reasons why I decided to go into creating Fades and Braids as an application, because I obviously also had, if not the same, but similar experiences. And of course, with all the people I know who basically moved here, probably
Yeah.
had very similar experiences to you guys. People who grew up here had also similar experiences. And it's just always a struggle. And you think to yourself, something so basic, like
Mm-hmm.
getting your haircut,
Yeah.
shouldn't be a topic to worry about for as long as I can remember. So at
Yeah.
that point, I was like, okay, we needed a solution 10 years ago, if not 5 years ago. But if nothing is here, let's
Mm-hmm.
let's check what we have out there. And I think, yeah, it's just nice and reassuring to hear from you guys that you have had similar experiences. And I would really like to know if we did a poll to all the people listening or hearing this, and just to get
Yeah.
their perspective. And I just would like to see the one person who says, "Oh yeah, hair was never a problem in Germany."
100%. Yeah, that's going to be really rare to come across. So yeah, guys, if please share your own experience with us wherever you're watching or listening to this from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter, so that we can also hear your story. Um, yeah, Steven, I guess you can take it up from here now.
Yeah, gladly. So I don't even know where to start from because it's such an interesting topic. Like Marvin said, something that is so basic like this can become a nightmare, but also a good business idea. So
100%.
that's why I would like to come in here, Marvin, to ask you. Yes, you have briefly talked about yourself, your background, the origins, but would like to hear more about your that inspiration, that enterprising part of you. How do you start this whole idea of fades and braids? What inspired you really?
um, well, first of all, I think it's always been deep, basically in there, that you want to know, like, what can I do with my hair? Basically, this question, right? What can I do? You use the internet, you see what people have, you see like famous people and have all different haircuts, and you are basically stuck with what you have. Maybe you are lucky and you have a good hairstylist, but probably the hairstylist usually would like do one good thing which you do over and over again. But you don't really have the freedom and flexibility to just choose and pick, see, does this famous actor have? Maybe let it try on myself. Like, all these things basically were not possible unless you maybe started doing it yourself, which I actually at some point did, cutting my own hair. So for me, it was really just a big curiosity that's always been in there, and the need and the personal hope to just be able to flexible change my hair, grow it longer, cut it shorter, do this cut, do that cut, do this style without much effort to go into it, just feeling like it, and then a month later having it, or even a day later. So this was my first idea, and it was really just from my personal experiences. But once you start speaking with people and you realize that many people have similar issues, and then you even realize that some people even have much worse issues than you have. So
Yeah.
especially when it comes to women, I think their experience, black women, the experience here is much harder actually. And then you hear about all these things that maybe I wasn't aware of, but once you paid your attention to it, which
Yeah.
kind of also brings you to a point where you say, okay, this can't be true, right? That people would
Hmm.
straighten their hair, because their natural hair or their, let's say, traditional hairstyles are not really accepted in society. They're kind of seen as something negative, and so
Mm,
people are afraid of that. So they start like straightening their hair with chemicals and all these things just to basically fit in. So all these
mm,
kind of things basically brought me to a point where I really wanted to create something that's giving people like taking away this obstacle
Hmm.
for myself, but also for everyone I talk to who is having similar issues.
Yeah.
right. The key word is in the last sentence of taking away the obstacle, but
Mhm.
also giving people a sense of identity because it's not easy. For example, for us, when for those of kids, we have experience every day where they have some time to compare with their friends how easy it is for them to comb and to organize their hair. So you saw the obstacle, you saw the need, and I believe there is part of you that culture and background, the awareness that plays a role in this. So how does your background, your German and the Cameroonian background, play a role in this, in the interest of building that sense of personal cultural identity, at the same time the convenience?
To be honest, I could come like it's so many facets of it, so many dimensions
Mm,
that kind of play a role. So when I grew up, um, I think actually, to be honest, the
mm,
reason why I'm here also has partly because of the hairstyle of my father, because he had long dreadlocks, kind of like Bob Marley. And I
mm.
think my mother was a big Bob Marley fan, so I think the reason why they connected might have something to do with that as well. So who knows? But I'm I'm kind of sure that that must play a role. But at the end, I think I always like basically had when I was a kid. I think I had also dreadlocks because I think most of my parents didn't really know what to do with my hair, so they were just going wild. And I think I was as a kid I was also mocked a lot by other peers about my hair, and that kind of made me also, I think, as a kid, very like insecure in that topic, because I was always like considered to have ugly hair, and be ugly because I had like long dreadlocks. So that was like really as a kid, kind of painful because you don't really fit in into most society, like the most people here in the society. So and I think then when I got older, decided to cut them off, and then I think I got cornrows. So my older sister, she always would braid my hair and do cornrows, and I think it was my very first good experience with hair, because once I got cornrows, I was getting older, and I looked a bit more, like some famous rapper in that time, and I was looking more fresh, let's say, and then totally got a totally different response from society, and I felt suddenly like the first time like I don't have like ugly hair. The first time I felt like I have a good looking hair and I have a good style. And I think that was the first experience where I saw like it can change a lot how you see it, but also how you feel how you feel, because now that was the first time where I could really see, okay, different hairstyle. I mean, I didn't change the person, but it suddenly you get like recognition and all these things. So as a little kid, that was an interesting experience. And then of course it's always something that you see that you learn, like how people express everything with their hair, and then you learn about how hair can be used as a political expression. You know, how you would wear, for example, curly hair and afros, for example, Black Panther movement, and how you would, you know, the stories and how braids and cornrows perceived over the years. You know, people would actually encode different routes into it, and it has such a deep roots and culture, and it is so much to it. So you basically have to be excited about all that, and I think that all kept this topic also very relevant to me. Um, Up to a point where at some point I started cutting my own hair, because it was also hard for me to find somebody who was able to cut my hair, similar to your guys' story, of course. And then I started cutting my own hair, and then I had, of course, lots of friends, you know, with curly hair, you know, and they also cut their hair, and at some point I got better. And yeah, then suddenly random people called me I didn't know, and they all wanted to get haircuts by me, and that's how I got my first little side job next to school, because I was cutting people's hair in my apartment. And back then you could already see the need of somebody who just understands your hair type, because the people didn't go to any random hair salon because they wouldn't be able to do the hair. But me, a kid who just started to, you know, experience with my own hair, and then with some friends, already had enough experience, so they trusted me more than the others, and that already says a lot.
Mm. That's quite interesting, Marvin, and I can relate. I don't know, Mike could probably say the same. Um, Hair, just having the hairstyle can be an expression, can be a statement, but can also create a perception. And I can tell you, I don't know how many times I was stopped sometime and asked to show my ID or to introduce myself by police sometime because I had that hairstyle. And I remember there's a time I just, when I could see the police, sometime I would just go myself and say, "Would you like to see my ID?" Like, it's the time I was just trying to do it also funnily as a way of saying there's nothing wrong with me. But also, I remember a time when people could just stop by and um, just ask me if I had, maybe I was selling something, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" It was so weird at the time. But why am I saying this? Like, we do live with these kind of things, and I'm so happy that you found a niche, you saw something that could be used as a tool, as an expression, but also a challenge. Uh, which brings me to the next question about seeing a need out of necessity, out of a problem. So finally, you see that there is need. You start offering the service, cutting people's hair into your small apartment, I guess, and seeing the demand growing. So how does this transition into fades and braid? Could you give us the bit of that, the transition into something now much more organized and structured business opportunity?
Yes, exactly. So from I mean, that was during the school time, you know, that I would cut other people's hair and stuff, and then I you know, I started learning my new job. I got university degrees and then in engineering and coding,
Mm,
and I did that because I also always wanted to be able to innovate and to create something. And whenever this idea with Fades and Braids popped up,
mm,
that was great, because you know, I had the tools to build an app, because that's what I was preparing for, and I got together with a very good team, and we had very good complementary skills. And we said, hey, let's try to bring something to life, because we can do it, and obviously no one else did it. And because obviously before I actually did it, I talked to many people. I asked them, like, not really asked them, I just researched, like, this idea, like, does it somewhere exist? Is anybody building that? And I found a few
mm,
people who actually started something similar, and I reached out to them, and yeah, these things, they were started but never finished. Um, so I said, okay, if no one already started it, and no one actually works on it, and let's start from new. And we applied at the idea Afro-German startup pitch, where people with African descent in Germany can pitch business ideas, and if they win, they get funded. And we won the section for the idea pitch. Yeah, we won that, and then in front of 500 people who basically had similar issues, and then we said, okay, let's go and then let's just build it. Yeah, and that's how it happened.
Wow, amazing. And you're, now you're connecting this to your technical background, your design, your engineering background, and you're connecting an issue, a problem in your community, and then the power of networking with other like-minded people. Can you tell us more about the whole? What were some of the challenges? What were some of the experiences you made? Because the main topic of this discussion today is building wealth within, learning from the story of Fades and Braids, because we understand there are so many entrepreneurs, young people starting, trying some things in our communities, especially in the diasporan community. But somehow, by the start of the idea, usually the whole concept dies because they don't know how to go about the challenges. Like, first of all, not even the funding part, but also the conception process, the research part that goes into all this, and positioning of yourself, and then finding your MVP, and then now finally bringing it to the people to say, okay, this is the idea. Maybe you would like to share some of the experiences you made at that foundation period.
Um, I think good question. I think the first thing was to talk to as many people as possible,
Mm,
um, and to really get to know how is it working and what are the issues and what do they want. And obviously, it was hard because some people would talk to you, but most people in the beginning don't really talk to you too much. And I wish
mm,
that this would be a bit more open. But if you find the correct people who are open to talk to you, then it can be very useful. And there were some people, also hairstylists and other people that we had really long conversations. I'm very thankful for all the insights they gave and helped for that, and also other people who supported otherwise. So you need to find the people who support you. And I don't think you can do it alone. Whatever you do, anything, I think you need to go out and talk to as many people as possible about your idea, and then while you implement it at every step, and just try to get as much feedback and talk to people as much as possible. And
mm.
don't be scared of when people tell you something doesn't work, because also many people told me it doesn't work here, and then this step worked, and the next step people said, oh no, this won't work because of next step. So I think, of course, at the end you will never know until what point you will get. But I think if you just listen to people saying no, then you won't get anywhere. Of course, you need to see what they say, you need to take it serious, and need to find a solution how you can make it work anyways. There's always risk involved, but I think you just need to be persistent and stay with it. That's what we have been doing uh, until today.
Awesome. Just to sum it up for anyone who would like to take notes for this, because I find this is the gist of the matter. Number one, you're saying talk to as many people as possible because you want to understand whether this is a viable business idea. Number two, find the underlying issues. What are the real issues, the problems that you're trying to solve? And number three, what I took note of is also you need to find the correct people, because you could have asked the wrong people. Maybe they could have given you feedback, but trying to find answers to maybe to a wrong problem. So this is very important to find the right people that are related to the problem that you're trying to solve. And do it with other people. Don't do it alone, because you always need someone to give you an idea, to maybe to show you a perspective or something that you could have missed. Even though you are a technical, even though you're a creative person, you probably need someone who sees the problem from a very different perspective. And what I also took from you, Marvin, is do not listen to naysayers, because people always find reasons to doubt or to say this is not possible or no one has ever done it. Someone looking like you, do not listen to that. But yet, take feedback, but be curious and inquisitive to explore what has not been done before. Above all, be persistent and consistent. So, thank you so much for sharing that, Marvin. Um, I would like to find out, Marvin, if you would, now that Fades and Braids has taken off, you received the funding, uh, you are now fully structured and organized. What are some of the important milestones that Fades and Braids has gone through to the current date?
Um, yeah, many milestones that we are going through. Of course, um, first of all, it was really important for us to validate the business. So we won this competition. That was the first validation. Then can we
Mm,
actually create um, a business? So that in Germany that's a challenge. So we were able to actually create a business. Then um, can we actually bring people uh, together to actually sign up for this idea? And then we got created the first app where people can sign up, and we also had some people who showed up and who gave their support. So we see it. Okay, that's nice. We can continue. We had some internal issues. We lost one team member at one
mm,
point. That took us really some time, and that was really difficult, and it really came close to actually ending the whole thing because it didn't
wow.
go so pretty. And that really was a hard time because I thought I was really frustrated because I thought it's going to end because of something like that. But fortunately, this didn't happen, and we're still there. Then we actually implemented the app. We had a real launch. We had a very nice launch event,
Mm,
and this was perceived very well. This was a big launch, a big milestone. Obviously, the first time someone booked an appointment was also a very big milestone. And
definitely.
now, of course, the next milestone is to reach our internal goals for signed up clients, and we also now just this month have a new community engagement manager who joined the team. So that's also very nice that we grow, and yeah. So every month there's something new coming to it. We went to the top hair fair, like Germany's largest hair fair, as a representative with our own stand um, last month. That was great. So like I have the feeling every month we reach a new milestone, and hope it continues in this pace as well.
Amazing. Mm. Wonderful. Those were some very important tips, and I took note of that. And I would say the most important, like you said, is validating the business and yeah, having a viable business that is able to stand as called a business. That was very outstanding for me. Um, Marvin, if I would like to know something about this entrepreneur journey, like you said, especially the setback of, let's say, losing a team member and having to refigure out how do you compensate for those skills for the person that has left the team. It's very common. Um, but if you were to give an idea or a suggestion to someone who is trying to start up a business and they reach that kind of setbacks, what can you say that you learned from that? Maybe that could be a word of inspiration or guidance for someone maybe they started something together, everyone has got their core competencies, and then all of a sudden you're standing there as a solo entrepreneur. How do you go about that?
First of all, I think so far, at least with me, um, it's always a roller coaster that goes up and it goes down. So I mean, you have times where it's really nice and you're really happy about how things are developing, and then you have times where you're like very frustrated and you think that you can just end it now because it doesn't make any sense anymore, and it just
Mm,
goes up and down. It could be like within, I don't know, a day or something, or 2 days. So
mm,
far, you put a lot of effort in there, a lot of effort,
okay.
and you want to see that the results come. And sometimes it looks different, and then sometimes it starts rolling. I think you just have to continue. You have to really always continue. Set yourself your goals, and then zoom out and see if you're moving towards your goals. And then
Yeah.
if you're moving towards your goals, that's already great. And then if you would like to move a little bit faster,
Mm.
that's the skill where you can, try to see if you find the right people to support you, get in contact with people to help you. But I think as long as you're moving in the correct direction, I think that's good from my point of view. And don't give up. Just try to do it. And if it doesn't work, change something. But um, be aware that it won't work from the beginning.
Right. So it's always a constant assessment and improvement, right?
Yes, exactly. So it's not just it's basically, it doesn't have to be always an improvement. You have to continue, and
Mm.
uh, and even though it doesn't work, don't give up. Basically, don't give up too early. Like, stick with it. And that's why
Mm.
only start something where you have the patience and the passion to do it. Because if you do something that you don't have the passion to do, it would be very hard to stay
Right.
with it, even in hard times.
Right. Very nice. Thank you so much for answering that. And my next follow-up question, Marvin, would be to someone who is listening there, or those who are going to listen or follow us later on, follow this conversation. They would like to know um, who is the typical client of Fades and Braids. If you could maybe give us some key personas, someone could identify themselves probably as a potential client in this.
Yes, I mean, if you have curly, coily hair types, and you have difficulties finding someone for the styles that you want, or if you um, generally are interested in trying out different styles and you need access to hairstylists who actually know what they're doing, then I think you're the perfect persona for that. We have in the platform the option to go to salons, or to bring somebody to your own place, or even for freelancers who want to go, where to have like maybe their own little place, own little salon where you can come to their home, for example. All is possible. So it supports a variety of people. So if you're
Mm.
looking for somebody to do your hair, that's in there. But I also want to stress out very much that if you are somebody that is doing hair, and you are somebody that has these skills and that actually
Mm.
can earn money with it, and you have these really, really bigly needed skills in the community, then sign up on Fades and Braids and put yourself in there. I think people would love to go to you and to book your services if you know what you're doing. And I think you can build really a very, very good business based on that, because the demand is so high. And we
Mm.
see that the people who have the skills are not yet coming out in the manner that they could, um, also really to unlock the economic potential of the whole thing.
Wow. This is very impressive, Marvin, because from the start we were talking about the challenges of finding the right stylist. Then there was the challenge of probably having the stylist, but who are not delivering the right job, or sometimes the cost aspect of it. So, if I understand the personas correctly, there is the B2C part of it, direct clients who are looking for someone to take care of them, and then there are the B2B people who are looking. So, you're offering also business, well established salonists or business providers, the platform to sell their services in this way, right?
Yes, exactly. So as a hairstylist, you can sign up, you can work independently, you can work in a salon, and you can work for a salon. All these different types are possible, which makes it perfect for our hair types, because the reality is,
Hmm.
um, maybe working full time in one salon might not be enough, because maybe the clientele going to that salon is not there. But there are
Hmm.
people like who can have much better access to people maybe further away in rural areas. Maybe you can travel, they can travel to you. You can work on the weekends while you study and during the week. All these things are possible, and possible through Fades and Braids, and there's not a tool yet that can offer you that. Of course, you can work in a salon if you
Hmm.
find one that supports that. But through Fades and Braids, you have full flexibility, which also fits much better in today's world and way of working. Also for some very traditional jobs, like for example hairstyling.
Wow, interesting. So you basically are offering the tools to entrepreneurs. I would say the entrepreneurs have really a lot to profit from this, because if you are to set up a business, you always need to look at the location, you need to look at the cost, the fixed cost, and the variable cost. So here you can basically you have a platform where you can have access to clients, right? And you don't have to look for them, but the platform gives you the visibility. And that leads me to the next question, Marvin. How do you ensure that you get the right? So, do you on the platform? Can I see who is the salonist in my nearby area, or do you have any algorithms that I find it? How do I position myself? Let's say I am based in Berlin, in the middle of Berlin, and I want to position myself on the platform so that the people that are looking for a stylist in my area can find me easily. Are there any ratings of the people on the platform, or everyone is visible regardless?
Yeah, so we don't have regional distance right search yet. We'll bring that once we implement some other things. But we have basically by location, also by big cities. So, for example, Berlin, Hamburg, Cologne, or like all these like big cities.
Right.
They're there as a hub. So if you're in the vicinity of Cologne, for example, I mean, you can look for people in Cologne, and then you can book with them, and or you can chat with them, and you can ask them like, where exactly are you? You can also see it on the map, of course. Once you book with them, you can see the area where they are, and then you can see like also where the salon is, the address. So then you can have a look. But for searching, that's not in there, but will definitely come. But you can pick your area where you are, and then of course you can just easily book the service based on the place, so salon, your home, or their home. And you can just query like for like if you only want to be in a salon, you can only query for that services. If you want to look in different cities, you can also do that. So you can actually just query and see what you like most. um, yeah, so that's how it works. And I want to also say that if you sign up as a stylist and you have a very good reputation, and
Mm.
because you can have ratings, of course, people can rate you after they book. So you can have a good reputation, and then you can open up a digital salon. So you can basically teach other people how to do hair properly, and they can work under Fades and Braids under your name. So then people, for example, when you are like fully busy and you don't have any space left, um, some other people can work, but they work under your name, and then you also get a promotion that you negotiate with these people. So you can basically sell your brands, and other people will benefit because first you teach them your secrets, which helps the entire community. So the more better hairstylists, the better. Um, but these people also have an easier entry to market because people will trust them more because they know they are associated with you. And this way, you can scale up your business as a hairstylist, which before was not possible. You could only basically earn money when you did the hair yourself. Now you can basically have people all over the place doing hair, and you always get a little promotion because you are the one who taught them how to do it. So this is something completely new.
Wow. So it's a business basically that has not stopped. And I find that grassroots aspect or the community aspect of it so interesting. You're giving the tools, but also you're helping people to provide more service by teaching others how to do the job. Uh, I particularly like the idea that you mentioned. Rating and reviews can also help you to get more visibility and more clients. Which leads me to my question about quality and safety and standards and feedback. How do you go about that on that platform? If say his client is unhappy, do you get feedback? And if yes, how do you deal with that? Members also Do they have some codex or standard they have to fulfill to be acceptable or to continue doing business with you?
Yes. So we review every hairstylist who signs up. So we
Hmm.
don't we check at it. We check if the person has a good skill level, and then we do that.
Hmm.
Um, so that's the first check we do. Then, of course, we let people review them, um, and people also give their experience. They upload documents of certificates if they have it. So they all have all the possibilities to do that. So the customer can also see, okay, this person is experienced. This person has nice ratings, and then they can go with it. So they have a better decision process behind it. Um, and we are making that more and more visible now in the app. Um, that all these different intricacies about the person and details are more and more visible to the client. So, because if you want to see a hairstylist, sometimes it's very intimate, appointment, because you sometimes sit with that person for hours. So maybe you sit with a person for hours, like in a living room or something. So yeah, maybe you want to also learn more about the person. So that's also something that now goes more and more into the app as we're building the profiles a bit more and a bit deeper.
Hmm. Interesting, interesting. And where do you see the future of this app? What is it that you want to accomplish in the next 5 or 10 years from now?
So first of all, I think in the next 5 years, I think it's easier to plan. 10 years is a long way, but in 5 years, we want to be at a point where the issue that we described in the beginning, that it's hard to find hairstylists in Germany for Afro textured hair, is basically a thing of the past. So we you have the option, if you want to get a haircut, to get one wherever in Germany, and the goal is, of course, to sooner or later also spread to other countries in Europe and make it a whole European thing.
Hmm. Wow, that's a very inspiring goal or vision that you're setting up for yourself. So, looking at a time where our kids will not feel bullied, or they will feel proud of their hairs, and looking at a time where Afro businesses or those who are wanting to become business entrepreneurs will be inspired to join the platform. But most important, that you can inspire others even to learn a new skill, because I understand doing this can be a livelihood. There are people who are living on that. Is that right?
Oh yes, you can earn a lot of money doing that, especially right now. It's like a golden time for that, because
Hmm.
the demand is so high that if it's the perfect time to start and
Hmm.
to really make a name for yourself,
Right.
because that's how it is, right? You always have high demand, and there's not really many people doing it, but
Hmm.
this changes, and at some point I think it will be like a more competitive business.
Right.
This is, at some point it will come, but if then you are on top and you are
Hmm.
the one who built yourself a name, I think that's very valuable. And now, like, there are not many opportunities. It
Right.
depends on every business. I think for software developers, of course, I think this is already past. There was a time as a software developer that you could make a lot of money, you could always find a job. But now we
Right.
have AI. AI learns to code, and software developers now, it's a bit harder to find good jobs, and basically the prime is over. And I think for every job and everything that you do, for every craft, there's always periodic good times, and especially for this topic, the art of braiding African, not braiding, the art of styling African hair type. I think
Hmm.
that's something that's highly needed. People are there, people are willing also to spend money, but we need people who take that challenge on.
Interesting aspect you're mentioning is the time aspect, that the cycle. Right now, it's possible that someone can make money. Who knows tomorrow? The tools and the information is going to be much more broad and wide, so accessible that there are so many players on the market. So if you're there listening, that's exactly the purpose of Opportunity Pulse. Opportunity Pulse is a platform that helps us to organize and create different ideas and business ideas together and bring them to the community and inspire members. Mike, myself, we all have different companies, but we came together because we thought there is a power of community if we share and inspire each other. And Marvin is here to inspire us. And I'm learning a lot from you. And I feel like there are like two or three people I already know that are going to be interested in signing up because they are providers. They have been doing this braiding, but mainly for friends and something casually. Probably some of them thought they could not even make a lot of money out of this. But I can't wait to share with them this idea. And we're approaching the end of this session, Marvin, and I wanted to find out briefly from your side, what do you think are the biggest impediments or hurdles facing the migrant community in the sense of finding the cause or something that they can pick up from issues that they're facing themselves, but also opportunities around them? We have a feeling that there's always a challenge of us finding out the right cause and moving forward and even making a business or making it a community benefiting project. Do you have an answer to that? Because we keep getting a lot of this question.
Do you mean how do
Yeah.
you go about it if you see or encounter an issue
No,
or
why do you think many of our members, or the Afro, especially from the Afro diasporan community, find it difficult to identify causes like this
Hmm.
and make it a viable business project?
Yeah, that's a good question because I don't really in my environment I don't really see that to be so much the case. I think my personal experience is that um, especially people from the African diaspora, I think, have a higher um, proportion of people who actually try out different things. Maybe because also of their background and because they were always different than the majority here, that they
Mm,
or come from different places and seen different things and therefore also think also a little bit different and tried also different things. So
mm,
that's more my impression, to be honest. But that doesn't mean that there's still, I guess, many people who maybe find it difficult to identify some things. But I think identifying is not the issue. I think we basically know our issues,
yeah,
and I'm more a fan of creating value a bit for the community,
right.
um, because that's multiplying everything else.
Mm,
Um, but I think we know our issues, and I think what we need to do is to really say, hey, I mean, no one is going to solve it. It's on us, and it's especially on me to solve it,
mm,
and together with community to connect, and then just start working on somehow fixing these issues, because no one else will see these issues here than if you're from the community. And
mm,
I think we know these issues. We all experience them deep
mm,
down. If we think about it, we identified them. We just need
mm.
to go and start fixing them, and work together to fix it.
No, you absolutely said it right. It's not a problem of identifying, but can we identify and make viable business opportunities? As the topic today says, building wealth from within. So, because the problems, the business ideas usually come from the problems that are facing us. So, we do usually identify or we face the problems, but it's sometimes difficult to scale up this problem up into a business opportunity.
I see.
So
Mhm.
this is where I was coming from, and I think the answer that you're saying to this, no one will take this up from us. So it's not just about talking about the problems, about how hard is it to comb or to find the right stylist or the salon, but can I create a solution to that? Can I start one, or can I create a platform, an app that helps us to identify each other? I think this could be the biggest contribution you're making to changing the problem itself.
Yes,
And
and to jump in there real quick,
yeah,
the people don't like we are as a community. a little bit disconnected from the rest inside Germany, because the problems are so different that we face compared to maybe the general problems,
Mm.
um, that uh, people cannot tell you if it's a good business case. Like you can come and say, hey, I want to build an app that where people with who are focused on curly hair types can offer their services, and they tell you, yeah, the market's not big enough. And then you say, okay, do you know about the market? Yeah, no one knows about the market. You know how long I tried to find any numbers of how many black people live in Germany? You don't find any reliable numbers. There's no way of computing the market. The only
Yeah,
way we can find out is just go and start and then see how big the market is.
exactly. Exactly. No, you said it correctly. You got to get out of the comfort zone and find out, and then you'll be surprised how much market or demand there is for the service or the good that you want to sell. And Marvin, do you plan to include include more service lines to this, or probably it already exists? Like you mentioned, sometime, especially our sisters or our mothers usually face the challenge that not only is it hard to find the right stylist, but also some have to make the choice between using chemical substances that are harmful to their health or to their bodies, or not using them at all. So, do you also include or plan to include in the service line also guidance on that, or products that you think have been tested and proven to be safe and sound for the community members?
Yes, that's a very big thing that is probably going to come also at some point. So it's definitely on the radar. So far, we focus only on the skill of the hairstylist, but we already have some conversations about this topic, so that we can hopefully bring that at some point.
Awesome. Well, it was really nice talking to you, Marvin. My name's Stephen Buete. My colleague Mike could not finish the session, but we are so delighted to have had this opportunity to talk to you. And always, I would like to give you a chance, Marvin. If you'd like to say your last remarks or anything that you would like to add to this conversation, feel free, please.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much also for the listeners to listen in. I really want to encourage you, if you know somebody who's doing hair, who's doing locks, who's doing braids, who's cutting hair, like talk to the person, show them Fades and Braids. We have all the information on the website fadesandbraids.com.de, Fades and Braids underscore de for Instagram. Show them the app and tell them to sign in as a hairstylist, so we can really build a nice network, um, and can scale up this whole topic about finding good hairstylists.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And once again, I really appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy person, but thanks for your time and for the information you've shared. But the most important of all, for providing a solution to the community that is making a difference, not only economically, financially, but also contributing to the general well-being and the perception of the Afro-diasporan community. So thank you so much, Marvin. Please go and check Fades and Braids and reach out to Marvin and the team. And I'll be very, very happy to, again, to refer quite a number of people I know that make use of this platform. So thank you, and hoping to meet you at our upcoming event, which will be advertised soon. And I want to meet you in person because I find this is a very inspiring project that you started. Thank you.
Likewise, can't wait.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.